Good afternoon. My name is Charles Hatzel. I'm the CEO of eProperty Care based in Somerville, Massachusetts. And I'm excited today to be with Michael Pallone, the owner of Wollaston Development. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Charles. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. So Michael, can you give us an overview of your business? Tell us what you're doing these days.
Sure. My business is Wollaston Development. We are a commercial landscape maintenance, residential install, and hardscape masonry company. We also specialize in snow management. We are servicing the greater Boston area and Metro West. We've been in business for over 20 years, and we're a family-run operation. My wife, Meredith, and I are at the helm. I handle sales and field operations, and she's the CFO.
Fantastic. Must be nice having a husband-wife team there. So everyone these days is impacted one way or the other by COVID. How has COVID impacted your industry?
Well, first and foremost, safety was our largest concern initially. We had to implement obviously all of the safety precautions that were recommended. All the employees were required to wear masks. We have hand sanitizer stations in the trucks and in our garage. We also we set up pods within the company between the landscape maintenance crews, hardscape masonry and landscape install crews. We never really wanted them in the same place at the same time if we could. And also all of the management staff was never in the same place at the same time. We work outdoors primarily, but still, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was a little unsure about, how easily it could spread. But we pretty much, that was our number one goal and priority at the time and now. Also, in terms of, any sort of sales or, meetings with existing clients, a lot of it was done via Zoom, just same as everybody else. But as far as how our industry has been impacted, I would say that the largest impact was the uptick in residential installs. There were a lot of people that were unsure about how long the lockdown was going to, last, and people decided to invest in their properties.
Okay, so you saw like a good boost on the residential side. Did the commercial side, is that the opposite side of the coin? Did that take a hit given businesses shutting down and offices closing?
Well, no. I don't know if everyone is aware, but landscaping was actually designated as an essential business pretty much close to the onset of the lockdown. And people might ask themselves why. I guess a lot of it has to do with the psychological impact. People don't want to see grass up to your waist. Also, there's a safety implications. Tall grass can also be a breeding ground for infestation and rodents. But the commercial side, most of our contracts are multi-year terms, so none of that was impacted initially. But we do take into account, that a lot of businesses do shut down. Primarily, we were concerned with office parks. People were working from home. Obviously, those properties needed to be maintained. They still do. But we understand that there might be, budget restrictions and things like that because of the fact that a lot of those buildings were left vacant this year.
Okay, great. So I understand that you do a lot of work with property managers. What are the primary challenges that they're seeing today, and how are you helping to solve them?
Well, a lot of the challenges in property management are the same as they've ever been. One of the largest and most obvious is that people are home. They have more time to basically analyze the performance of their property managers, and property. I'm speaking about condominium complexes primarily. And also where people are working from home, they're on Zoom calls. The only break that they get typically was to get outside and maybe walk around the grounds of their complex. So that would mean that they end up having more time to analyze the performance of the landscaping company. Any issues that might pop up, they were quicker to recognize and report. So we made a significant effort to be as successful as possible, be proactive, and be responsive.
Excellent. So everyone being home led to a little more scrutiny on the property managers' businesses, which leads to you being more on top of the property managers to be able to support their needs. So it kind of puts you under the microscope as well then.
Absolutely, yeah. Our number one priority, and it always has been in terms of dealing with property management, is to make the property manager's job easier. They have a lot of people that they have to keep happy, and they have to accommodate everyone in. Ultimately, our job really is just to facilitate all of their requests in a timely fashion, and I feel that we've been able to do that. That said, it's still a little bit of a task when people are also, feeling the isolation impact of COVID-19. People are a little bit more tense a lot of times, and we feel that they can get a sense of relief in knowing that their property managers and their landscape and snow management companies are aware of all of their concerns, and we respond in a timely fashion.
Yeah, that's kind of a common, a very similar kind of thought to our business and smart building automation. People want to be away, do things remotely, avoid those in-person contacts. So, we've kind of seen a lot of interest from the property managers in being able to more efficiently manage their portfolios and avoid those in-person contacts. So, I see that theme kind of resonating here. So climate change is obviously a big topic, especially when we see those big weather events moving through the South and causing all that damage. So how has it impacted design here in New England?
Well, climate change is definitely, it's a top priority concern for our industry. Everyone experienced in our area a pretty extensive drought, and throughout the country, really. But in New England, there was an extended period no rain, and for landscapers, that can be a task. Obviously, when we are doing design builds, we keep in mind, and we relate to the customers the fact that our installs have to last longer than just the year that we install them. We're trying to get them set up for the time that they're set up in their home. So basically, selecting drought resistant plants, that's definitely a way that we can respond to climate change. Also, too, in the winter months, the extreme weather events. It's not just the amount of snow, but how the snow falls, the intensity, the duration of the storms. So basically, it's about being prepared, having the technology, having the manpower to respond to these weather events. They're typically things that most people wouldn't realize or focus on. It's just snowing when they look out their window. But what we see is massive accumulations, long duration events, and then also the quick switch over from rain to snow. It can create a lot of ice. And, that's something that we found that, we have to be aware of and prepared for, because in those situations, you cannot wait for the problem to arise. You have to be proactive and prevent it from becoming an issue in the first place.
Okay, great. So you mentioned that you're using like drought resistant plants and things of that nature. What else are you doing to help clients deal with this?
After you install the drought resistant plants, you still have to keep them alive. So, whenever possible, we try to install irrigation systems. A lot of times people, especially in condominium complexes, they tap into wells. In the times of extreme droughts, you end up with a situation where the wells run dry. And once the well starts to run dry, it'll bring a lot of sediment into the irrigation lines. It can clog the heads of the irrigation system. It creates all sorts of problems. So one of the issues that we found, and Charles, better than anybody, with your technology at eProperty Care, we have been able to monitor the water pressure on those irrigation systems. So in times past, we would have to wait for grass to die or flowers to die to know that there was a problem with the irrigation system. But now we're able to get an alert when the water pressure changes, so we can address those problems in the irrigation system as they happen, so we can repair them and make any adjustments required so that we can keep the grass green, keep the flowers bright and colorful.
Yeah, we're excited about working with you guys on that project. To be able to proactively get ahead of these situations, I think will keep the HOAs off your back and the property managers off your back, and just give you an overall better experience. So what are some of the design trends that you're seeing on the commercial and residential side? That you're seeing in your industry.
On the commercial side, we have actually started to offer outdoor classrooms to school, outdoor conference rooms to office parks. That's probably been the biggest trend this season. Obviously, people have been doing their best to work via Zoom, but it's still, psychologically, I feel there are benefits to in-person meetings when possible, when it can be conducted safely. So that's probably been the biggest trend on the commercial side. On the residential side, as I mentioned, people are home. They started investing into their home. We had a huge uptick in sales of patios, outdoor fire pits, outdoor kitchens. There was obviously a large concern for a spike in COVID infection around the time of the holidays. So what a lot of times we offered, and leading up to the holiday season throughout the summer, were outdoor setups that could accommodate not just the people that lived in the homes, but their family members and close friends in a safe way. So we started to install larger patios, outdoor fire pits with a large enough area around where people could comfortably, enjoy, the company of their loved ones in a safe way, social distancing. Also with radiant heat elements and fire pits, it allows them to entertain a little bit longer into the day, into the evening. This is a large priority for us, is the experience of the install on the residential side. A lot of times, especially with COVID, but in general, it's an incredibly overwhelming experience to take on a large project in your home. But when we initially meet a client, we do the initial consultation, talk about the design. We propose that they, as the clients, become the designers, in tandem with us. So we basically sell and promote the experience of it all. We invite them to have as much of an impact on the design as possible, because at the end of the day, when the job is complete, we want them to feel as though it is their design, it's their install. A lot of programs on the HGTV, all the renovation shows, they're very popular. We actually feel as though we're able to offer that experience to our clients, and it's been a real exciting experience to just watch their reaction and to get their input. And it's made our job actually a lot more enjoyable, especially in this trying time.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. You mentioned some technologies like radiant heat and some of the water flow technologies from our company. What are some other technologies that you're using to differentiate your company from others in the space?
Well, especially in the residential installs, when we install radiant heat with permeable brick pavers for patios, it allows our clients to enjoy their outdoor setup, their outdoor living for an extended period of time, whether it's into early spring, March right now, or even into November, early December. A day like today, for us, it's high 40s, low 50s outside. That still might be a little bit cool for some people, but for others, if they want to enjoy their patio, they can. But if it's covered in snow, they really can't. They don't feel like getting out there to shovel it off. With radiant heat under permeable brick pavers, they can basically turn on the radiant heat underneath their patio setup, and as it melts the snow, it dissipates through the patio, so they can consistently enjoy their outdoors living setup throughout as much of the season as they can, and then add a fire feature like a fire pit, and then all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more enjoyable to be outside in December and even January or February, depending on the day.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I could use some radiant heat underneath my pavers to get to our hot tub instead of having to shovel a path. So that'd be nice. So obviously we all saw in the news recently all that damage that was wrecked in the South due to that cold weather that kind of came through and caused a lot of water damage. So what advice would you have for people in the industry down there of how to prevent that from happening for their properties?
Well, obviously, for the interior of the property, I feel like you could offer more help than I could. Your system is it's not just monitoring water pressure and irrigation systems. Obviously, any utility you can monitor. If there's any change. If there's especially in a vacant unit, if there's a break in a water line, you can be notified right away. But as far as for my industry in the colder months, when we're dealing with a situation like that, the radiant heat obviously helps for patios, but it can really be helpful for driveways as well and walkways. So it can kind of create an element of safety as well. When that radiant heat is kicked on during a weather event, it prevents the ice to bond to the pavement. So that throughout the course of the storm, it might look like snow's building up, but it's slowly melting and dissipating through the pavement. And then at the end of it, even though your entire yard might be covered in a foot of snow, all the pathways, the driveways, all access points are bare pavement. So aside from the fact that it's less of a nuisance to have to get out there and shovel or snow blow or even hire a service to do it, in the case of an emergency, obviously they don't have to worry. Ambulances, fire trucks, they could still access a property, quickly and immediately.
Yeah, I lived in Dallas for many years, and I know they get a quarter inch of snow, the city shuts down. So I think it'd be very important for safety to have like the walkways and pathways cleared automatically by turning that on in the once or twice a year times when that actually happens.
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of snow management, safety is our number one priority. Obviously, people like an element of convenience and being able to just walk right out their front door and get into their car. But frankly, during snow events, we give the same pep talk to our entire team prior to every event. An ambulance or a fire truck has to be able to get anywhere they need to at any point in the storm. As I mentioned before, it's not necessarily about responding to the events. It's being proactive and making every preparation possible so that the event never can become an overwhelming event, that we stay on top of it at all times.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Well, Michael, I think that's all the questions we have for today. I enjoyed this. Thanks for making the time.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.